There is some evidence. I know Isaiah and both Ezekiel talk about Satan, Lucifer. He was an archangel at one point. That was his original name, Lucifer, son of the morning. He was an archangel. It appears one of the most powerfulest angels of heaven. Left his proper domain. He rebelled against God. Pride was found in his heart. He falls away from God, and not a lot of evidence, but there is evidence here in this distant eons of the past when Lucifer, the archangel, he rebels against God, and Scripture tells us that he pulls a whole third of the angels of heaven. These angels that come with him are what we know of as demons today that haunt and torment us. Oh, they're reserved for judgment. Reserved for judgment. Some of which Jude tells us there in verse 6 are now in chains waiting for judgment. Waiting for judgment. Oh, this, by the way, is where we get the demons that haunt and torment us. Lastly here, he said, the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 7. Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them, the cities of the plain. They're to look at Israel now in that southern portion around the Dead Sea, it's more of a deserty area. But believe it or not, according to Scripture, it was once a fertile plain. A fertile plain. Oh. Last example, the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah who were destroyed for their sexual immorality, among other things. Jude tells us there. Verses 7 and 8 explain about that. Oh, it's thought that these ruins of Sodom and Gomorrah, apparently there are 1st and 2nd century historians that make mention of ruins along the southern edge of the Dead Sea. Now, there's nothing that remains there now, but it appears that maybe even as late as the 1st and 2nd century that there were ruins there at the southern end of the Dead Sea. Oh, church, we think in our society that sexual immorality is no big thing. The church, the fact of the matter is here that God, in God's estimation, it's a serious enough issue to destroy a whole civilization. That's very, what's the word I want? Opens our eyes, doesn't it? Opens our eyes. Oh, we think it's no big deal, but God destroys. So, and you really think that God's going to overlook the sexual immorality that's going on today? No, I don't think so. He didn't then. Scripture says God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. What was wrong 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 years ago, in God's estimation, is still wrong today. Still wrong today. The point of verse 10, look at verse 10. But these speak evil of whatever they do not know, and whatever they know naturally, like brute beasts, in these things they corrupt themselves. Oh, the point of verse 10 here is that those who say that God would not do such things today, they speak of what they do not know. They do not know. Jude calls them brute beasts here. Brute beasts that are corrupt themselves, who seek to corrupt others in the same way, and in so doing bring the judgment of God. The judgment of God. Oh, we would do well to remember the past, heed the warnings of the past. Number 3, lastly here, verse 11. The woes of those who go such directions. The woe to those who go such direction. Oh, Scripture, understand, when the Scripture talks about, uses that word woe, you should probably pay attention. Go to Isaiah 5, and there's about 5